Everybody, and welcome to this week's Bear Facts Friday. Thank you so much for joining us on this wonderful Friday, May 29th. Once again, we're going to give you three different levels of information, I guess. I'm going to try to filter it out. Mark will put it in perspective. And Lisa, although not with us today, will offer her words of wisdom. So this week, I wanted to talk a little bit about innovation. As we saw, unfortunately, it was canceled, but the potential launch of the SpaceX rocket from Elon Musk. And even in times like this where things are as dire as they seem, and they're nowhere near as dire as they did seem a little while ago, but with just so much uncertainty in the world and so much fear and anxiety in people's lives with job loss and whatever it is that may be occurring, there are still people out there that are fighting to make a difference and create and getting up and thinking about how can I make the world a better place, or how can I build my business to grow and to make more money. And that will always happen. That will happen during times like this. It will happen during great times. People out there, at least in a capitalist society, want to work to make their lives better. And they're always going to be thinking in that way. And it's why we've had so much success, really, as a country. And hopefully we will, continue moving forward. One of my favorite sayings, quotes, was actually from a speech by Ashton Kutcher, of all people. But he said, and I'll read it to you. Steve Jobs said, "When you grow up and you tend to get old, you tend to get told that the world is the way that it is, and that your life is to live your life inside the world and try not to get into too much trouble. Maybe get an education, get a job, make some money, and have a family. But life can be a lot broader than that when you realize one simple thing. Everything around us that we call life was made up of people that are no smarter than yourself. And you can build your own things and you can build your own life that other people can live in." And I think that's just so, it's true, it's inspirational, and it is. This world we call, this things that we utilize and we do, it was all built by people just like us, and in often cases, not any smarter. So, continue doing what you're doing. Go out there and innovate yourselves. But I thought I love that speech, and I thought it was a good lesson to be learned as we're in the midst of this. There's still going to be people out there creating, doing what they can to make the world a better place.
All right, great. So a bit of headlines and wisdom in there, which I like how you double dipped in with that quote. I want to pick up this week with perspective from where we left off last week. And it was the idea of not relying on the headlines, especially when it comes to your investing. So if you remember, we looked at Moderna last week, which had the big headline and news that they were making some significant advancements with the vaccine. And very quickly, their stock price adjusted to that news, going from $66 to 86 in a rapid time, and then towards the end of the week, trickling back down to roughly where it was beforehand. So I thought it would be prudent to explore what's happened this week with this one particular company. And so here it is from where we left off at the end of last week. Monday, the markets were closed, but we see what the stock price did. Started at 67, trickled all the way down to $48 before rebounding a little bit. And so to cherry pick and echo on what we talked about last week of not relying on the headlines, again, just continuing this example, because I think it's a great one, that whatever you see in the news or on TV or in your conversations with people in your inner circle, just know that there's a lot more moving parts to it, and nothing is ever as simple as just one factor being the driving force, whether in a positive or a negative direction. And so for perspective, the alternative to that is continuing to focus on and hone in on the things that you can control. And when it comes to investing, there's a couple key things that are always prevalent there. That is and includes what are your savings rates? How much money are you setting aside? And is that meeting whatever your targets or your goals are over specific time periods? And what are your asset allocations, based on your time horizon and your risk profile and some other factors? How are your assets spread amongst what's available to you for a lot of folks between stocks and bonds? And then finally, what are your behaviors and what are your actions and reactions? Those three things are really way more important than any headline that you'll read. And so I want you to keep that in mind as you're going through your investment journey. That's what we've got for you for this week's Bear Facts Friday, and hope everyone has a great weekend.